The deceit of false grace more dangerous. As I shared previously, inclusionism and universalism are more dangerous than mixture. And what makes inclusionism and universalism more dangerous is that they intermingle within the community of grace. You cannot easily spot them because they look and sound the same. They would also tell you the same story about Christ's finished work. They may even look nice and act nice, but they are religious chameleons. The thing is that they cannot hide their deceit anymore. They have been exposed, and that is exactly what happened to them recently. They have been hiding this for quite some time, but suddenly it's like a bomb that exploded before their faces. Now they have exposed themselves. You never hear them openly say that they are inclusionist or universalist, but they staunchly espouse the deceptive tenets of this. At times, they would innocently evade the branding. They are like ferocious wolves in sheep's clothing. The deceit of inclusionism. Inclusionism is a belief that everyone is included on the finished work of Christ and thus automatically save everyone whether he believes or not. This belief espouses that all people are in Christ and that all are already saved. They just do not know, and that all we need to do is tell them. This belief is also known as historical reconciliation. What inclusionists would easily do is to read Romans chapter 5 verse 18 to 19 casually and disregard the rule of context and make a lousy interpretation. Let's look at the text first. Consequently, just as the result of one trespass was condemnation for all men, so also the result of one act of righteousness was justification that brings life for all men. For just as through the disobedience of one man, Adam, the many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the man Christ, the many will be made righteous. The casual reading of these two verses would easily tell you that because of Adam's sin, we're all made sinners. Equally, because of Christ's finished work, we are made righteous. That's exactly how it sounds. However, they did not take it into consideration the hermeneutical rules of context and grammar. First, let's look at the rule of context. Admittedly, Adam's sin made all men sinners. Verse 18 tells us, because of Adam's sin, there was condemnation for all men. In verse 19, the Apostle Paul said, many were made sinners. Strangely, he used the word many instead of all. Understandably, it's just a play on words, but he means the same things. The word many here comes from the original Greek word polos, which also means altogether. There is no problem with this because it agrees with the context. Romans chapter 3 verse 23 says the same thing. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. It is clear that when it comes to Adam's sin, all were made sinners, no ifs and buts. Automatically, we were all made sinners because if Adam. Here comes the confusion. They easily thought the same thing with Christ. Look at the casual reading. So also, through the obedience of the one man, the many will be made righteous. You need to take note that there is a reason why the Apostle Paul used the word many instead of all. Though it is true that the Greek word polos would mean altogether in the first part of verse 19 because the context approves it. However, in the second part of verse 19, polos means many, not all or altogether. Why? Because of the rule of context. In hermeneutics, the rule of context is superior than any other rules, like the rule of the correct usage of the word or even the rule of grammar. When there is an apparent conflict, the rule of context must prevail. How does verse 19b refer to us many? Many will be made righteous. The rule of context tells us that this refers to those who receives God's abundant provision of grace and of the gift of righteousness. Look at the context. For if by the trespasses of the one man death reigned through that one man, how much more will those who receive God's abundant provision of grace and of the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ? The Apostle Paul simply implied that there is an act of receiving from man's part. There is a clear contrast between what Adam did to us and what Christ has accomplished. In Adam, we become sinners by chance. Our becoming sinners is not our choice, it's Adam's. Whereas in Christ, we will be made righteous. Pay attention to the grammar use. Watch the difference more closely. In Adam, many were made righteous. Verse 19a. In Christ, many will be made righteous. Verse 19b. In Adam, aorist tense. In Christ, future tense. In Adam, you were made sinners. You remain a sinner until you receive. In Christ, you will be made righteous as you receive the abundant provision of grace. In Adam, when you reject the abundant provision of grace, you remain a sinner because you remain in Adam. In Christ, when you receive the abundant provision of grace, you will be made righteous. In Adam, by chance; in Christ, by choice. To God be the glory. God bless you.